This is always interesting, the word rebuild, and how some people are just scared to use it. And I thought it was interesting when Willard said, yeah, they don't, that's never going to be who they are. But Posey was asked if this is a rebuild.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you can characterize it with how you want. I wouldn't necessarily say a rebuild. I mean, obviously we moved some 6 major league players off of our roster today. I guess the message is we're not satisfied with the way that we've played this year and the last few years, and we're trying everything we can to continue to build a product that we can all be, excited to come and watch. And that was really the goal in this is, can we, even if we have to subtract a little bit now, can we potentially add some players that we think our fans are going to be excited about and hopefully wear a Giants uniform for a long time?
All right. How'd that sound to you?
You looked at me because I was blown away. Listen, I want this team to compete and get back in contention. I don't know. I just found that. I don't even know how to grade it, but I'm in the category of that's odd. You need to know, but you can't really be rebuilding if you got the 3 guys that we talked about, especially the money you owe them with Adames, Devers, Chapman, you can't, and Webb. You can't be rebuilding, right?
Well,
you replenished the farm.
My thing is yes. I mean, you could call it a rebuild. They're just stuck with they're in the same spot as the Warriors,
man.
In a way. But
you don't have a Steph.
If they can't get off those 3 guys, I'm going to put Webb off to the side.
All right.
If they can't get off those 3 guys, then these guys the players they just acquired have to be really good. You know what I mean? They got to be really good. By the time they come up,
but they're young.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. Or we've got to rely on those 3 guys having better years, and that's the problem.
And that
are they really going to have better years as they get older?
I don't look at. I'm being real. I don't look at Adames as age as his problem. So again, as much as I'm disappointed with him smiling and just his style, I still think he can be a factor. Adames too. Chapman, I don't know, but I guess this is their version. Or by default, you're running it back to a degree. And how do you add? But and I don't want to be a one-trick pony, but I'm looking at what's left the rest of this season. And you talked about identifying, or there'll be some no names in the lineup, and we saw that last night. I'm okay with that because I know what happened, and you went into Texas with damn near half your clubhouse. But the bottom line is, if you ask me right now, Steiny, what's the most important thing for the Giants to you, Goo, to finish this season out, and I know you're not going to like this, is getting damn Bryce Eldridge reps with the glove at first. And because of Devers, and if Devers has that, now that you shared with this Embiid treatment to where they can't even talk to him, Tony, about playing third or even taking some days off, I want Eldridge to get seasoned at first base with the glove. I love everything I'm seeing with the bat, and that has to grow. But, Steiny, how can you rebuild with those guys? So you got to run it back, and I guess Buster will be on the clock again this offseason in regard to adding to what you have, your nucleus. But
they need 3 pitchers, 3 starting pitchers. Here's the thing that I do think they got going for them is their attendance has been great this year, right? 35-ish.
Beautiful part.
Maybe a little higher.
Yep.
I don't expect that attendance to dwindle because of the moves they made. Everybody knew the season was pretty much done anyway, a month ago. So I think even though they sold, it's not like they were giving up because they were never in it anyway.
I'm right with you.
So, they were able to do this, and I don't think it's going to really affect attendance. I think the fans are going to be okay with what happens the rest of the year.
No doubt about it. And they have been since, if we want to really get real, 2014, the last time they won a playoff series.
Yeah, it's been a long, long time.
Just think of that, man. That is not the standard. Shout out Kawakami. I could have said that. Your boy's trying. Yeah.
This is more Posey on whether or not he tried to move the big three?
I think what I'll say is like we made it known to teams that we were really willing to talk about any player, and I don't think it does any good to say one way or another for us. We're still excited that we've got those big three guys, the Devers, that we have Devers, Chapman, Adames on the team, and still feel like there's a lot of great baseball left for those guys to play, and glad that they're going to be San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Either do I. He kind of told on himself, but I do wonder. I won't make a big deal of it because guys got pride and guys got egos, but I did wonder. If you're Devers or one of the guys in the Giants remaining right now, how that played, knowing that they listen to any and everybody, or with the team is, playing on 17 games under 500, does everybody with that Giant uniform as far as a player deserve to hear that? Nobody's specific name, but nobody's untouchable.
They stink. What's Posey supposed to say?
Well, the question is, and this was my theme yesterday, personal theme is, why do they stink? And are these prospects going to, we saw Harrison go to Milwaukee, miss me what Boston missed too, I get it, and find himself. So what about the instruction on the farm? What about, you left here, I don't want to give you too much. The game Friday was on Apple TV. And one of the announcers on Apple TV made a quote from Ron Washington. I guess he knows Ron Washington, Steiny, and he talked about Adames buying in on getting reps in with Ron Washington, and it played over the TV as if Adames wasn't on board or was being difficult. Tony Vitello went and fixed that at the podium. That's not the case. So I bring that up because I don't know if they got the right manager. And if we want to get real and keep it 100, do they have the right president of baseball ops? But he's such he's loved so much that he's going to get, continue to do his job. But those are questions I have right now about the Giants. I'm questioning everything.
Well, I think it's easy to understand what happened. If Buster Posey made it known to teams in the league that they were willing to talk about any player on the roster, I believe that. That means they couldn't move any of those three guys. They couldn't move them. Or they felt like, I'm sure they were going to have to pay off some of that salary.
You think? Yes.
And they were just, they didn't have anything for those guys.
And they didn't want to eat it.
And again, I know you and me are way different on this. I just don't expect those three guys to get better. I expect them to get worse, unfortunately. Now, I'm not saying they can't have all better seasons next year, but I think by and large, the next 3 or 4 years, you've got to start thinking about a drop-off for them.
Well, what does that mean moving forward as far as
know.
Buster? Do you add to this team? Do you,
Well, they have to.
No doubt. So, but if they think like you think, they're not going to get better, what are we doing? It's about the farm. Let's just litter the farm. I'm just I know fans, and you said the park is full. They don't want to hear that. But I got to believe Buster's going to take another crack at it and try to bring some guys, another version of Hauser and Malley, and hopefully they're better, and a Rise for that matter. But, I got to say this. I still watch the Giants play and hit, Steiny, and I'm just how in the hell? I get the pitching and bullpen, but how is this offense not more prolific than it's been?
Yeah.
Buster mentioned they're stealing more bases here late.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's dynamite. That's just great. This team's stealing now.
Well, those were his words.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, an Odyssey sports station, always live on the free Odyssey app, and now broadcasting from the Laughing Monk studios. That's the other thing with this ownership group. He extended Chapman. He signed Adames. He traded for Devers. I mean, how many more guys could they bring in at big money? That's not who they are, really. So they have to find a way to get 6 guys to be really good to help your three best players. Like, your three best players aren't good enough. And so now you traded for a bunch of prospects, and the hope would be in a couple years, they'll be up here and be good players. Now, I don't know where Devers, Chapman, and Adames are going to be at that point, but it's going to be hard for them to get better because the core of the team offensively is still intact.
And I do wonder, because you brought him up and you said you'll put him to the side for a second, but I'll get to Logan Webb. I mean, he's just been the face of the franchise, done his job above and beyond, but you start to think about if he's in on this conversation we're having, if he feels like it's this bleak and maybe the Giants won't be in contention to 28, 29, or 30, I mean, I'm sure if it's kind of the Steph Curry parallel, you know, I know he loves the Bay and he's from, you know, the area, you know, up I-80. But, man, Steiny, what about him pitching big-time baseball? Well, what's left of his career? And he's definitely got something in the tank. But, you know, I kind of think about what he's thinking about.
Well, and I'll play this sound in a minute from Buster Posey about Webb. But, like, the reason I'm putting Webb aside from those three is because Webb's good. Logan Webb is good.
Right.
He's a really good pitcher. And those other three guys, they're okay. So I understand not moving Webb. You move Webb and you're down another. Then you just give up your best starting pitcher for a bunch of prospects. Then you're gonna have to wait on the prospects.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
This is Posey about Logan Webb.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities at all to think that we can be in contention. And Webby's a guy who's been around for a long time. He's a pro's pro. Had a great conversation with him a couple of weeks ago and was just really enthused to see his enthusiasm about where he is at this point in his career and his understanding, I think, of what it's going to take as he's starting to rack up the years and the innings to continue to be pitching at an elite level, and was just really encouraging just to hear, I think, how excited he was about the way his body was feeling. Feel like he had, not to speak for him, but, you know, making some changes with the way he's doing some of his work, and just felt like his body was in a really good place. And he's a guy that I think we all see as somebody that can mentor the next wave of pitchers that come through San Francisco. And yes, I do think that, you know, we feel like there's still a chance, as bad as this year has been this year, that we can be a team that can be in contention.
Well, there it is. You know, those are words, but it's like I'm cooking the books with myself. Sometimes I hear words and make it into, you know, my opinion, or make it work for my opinion or my take. But I guess right there, Logan Webb and Buster Posey are on the same page. You know, we didn't mention Schmidt and Eldridge to go along with Adames, Devers, and Chapman. So they're on the team, and Jung-Hoo Lee. So, I mean, if I take Buster Posey at his word right now, I'm sure, you know, Logan Webb, they don't need to worry about him saying, hey, what the hell's going on? Get me out of here.
I mean, it didn't sound like Webb's anywhere close to that.
Right.
But again, the conundrum is, if you would have traded Webb, like Webb's a good player on a really, you know, he can be a good player on a great team.
But that's when we talked about this yesterday, looking yourself in the mirror and having that real conversation of what you are, where you are, and who you are. But I guess they would only move Webb if they thought they really were married to, we got to start this thing all over and maybe eat some of the money. A lot of Giant fans wanted Adames and Devers out of here and could process it better than when you look at their price tag, and the price tag being the reason they're not out of here and the Giants didn't want to eat the money. I guess you run it back, and it looks like that's what they're going to do.
This is Buster Posey on whether the ownership would pay down the contracts of those three guys.
Yeah, I think, again, those are kind of sensitive conversations that we'll have, and I don't know if it does any good to really make that public one way or another, but appreciate the question.
All right, that was on Chapman, Devers, and Adames.